Okay. So welcome everybody to the Senior Services Collaborative. It's good to see everybody here today on this hot, sticky day. Um, I know most of you. I'm Ellen Phipps with Aging Together, and we are here. We have a exciting presentation today. I'm really very, very excited about our presentation today from DARS. We have Kathy Miller, Director of Aging Programs and Services. And Kathy, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. We have a colleague and friend of mine, George Worthington, the Dementia Services Coordinator. So George, thanks so much. And we have Erica Okonski with No Wrong Door. And I hope I did not butcher your last name too badly there. So it's it's a really good, I looked through the slides and it's a very comprehensive presentation that we're going to get today. I don't think a lot of people, I mean, some people are aware of the services that are available, but honestly, every time I hear a presentation about aging services and what's going on at DARS, I learn something new. So there's so much going on there. There's so many resources, and just really very, very, very pleased that these folks are with us today. So without further ado, I believe we're starting with Kathy. So I will turn it over to Kathy, and I'm sure other people will be joining as they can. So over to you, Kathy.
Okay, well, thank you all very much. Thanks, Ellen, for inviting us to share our information with you today. We really appreciate it. And I'd like to say hi to Ray Parks. I see him there, our local AAA representative, our executive director in that area.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay, George, can you go to the next slide? Okay, I'm going to be talking today about DARS and specifically our division for community living. You may not know, but DARS does a lot of different things in addition to the Office for Aging Services and the Office for Disability Programs and No Wrong Door that we'll be talking about today. We also oversee Wilson Workforce and Rehab Center in Fishersville. We have a vocational rehabilitation division, and we also do disability determinations for Social Security. So we have about 1,400 employees, but in our Office for Aging Services, we only have about 25 or 26 employees. And as part of what we do, we work with the local area agencies on aging and provide funding through the Older Americans Act and also state general funds to support the services that they provide. But I'm going to give you a little bit more information about that. Next slide. Okay, so we're talking about the OAA and the organizational structure first, and then I'll talk about services. Next slide. The Older Americans Act was passed in 1965 as part of the Great Society legislation, and it was actually passed a few weeks before the acts that created Medicare and Medicaid. The act establishes the Administration on Aging, the state units on aging, and the area agencies on aging. The OAA has been reauthorized 18 times. The last time was in March of 2020. And it does provide for aging grants, discretionary grants under Title IV, and it requires DARS and the AAAs to advocate for older individuals. Next slide. Now, as I said, our funding under the Older Americans Act comes down from the Department of Health and Human Services to the Administration on Aging and the Administration on Community Living. So you'll hear me talk about ACL, which is the Administration on Community Living, and that is actually our funding source. The funding comes through ACL to the state units on aging, and you can see there are 56 there because it covers not only every state, but also all of our territories. And then the funding flows through us to the local area agencies on aging. So it doesn't matter where you live in the country or in the territories, there will be a state unit on aging, and there may be local area agencies on aging. There are a few states like Delaware that are so small they don't actually have local area agencies on aging. The state unit covers it all. There's also funding for tribal grantees, and in fact, the Chickahominy tribe did receive funding from ACL last year to provide some nutrition services. The local area agencies on aging, of which Rappahannock-Rapidan is one, they contract with local service provider organizations to provide their services directly to consumers. Next slide. So in Virginia, we do have 25 local area agencies on aging. We designate them in cooperation with the local governments. They are all required to have an advisory council. And as I said previously, the funding comes primarily from the Older Americans Act, but we do have state general funds as matching funds. And then the local governments in each planning and service area contribute funds. And then the AAAs, as I call them, the area agencies on aging, when I'm referring to AAAs, that's what I'm referring to, not your local automobile association. And so they will receive private grants, voluntary contributions, and fees from the services that they provide. Each year, the local AAA will develop an area plan for aging services with a budget, and that comes to us for our approval, and that serves as the basis for their contract with DARS. Next slide. So these are the local area agencies on aging. And you can see there, we have, the entire state is covered. Number 9 is Rappahannock, Rapidan, CSB, and AAA. Next slide. And these AAAs have different organizational structures. As you can see, the majority of them are private nonprofits, but Rappahannock-Rapidan is also a community services board. The ones in brown are the local ones in Northern Virginia. Those are the ones that are set up per jurisdiction. That's the only area in the state where you will see that, where they have individual jurisdictions. All of the others, planning and service areas, will cover multiple jurisdictions. We have a few that are joint exercise of powers. And then we also have 2 that are also community action agencies that are not listed on here, but those would be number 17, 18 Bay Aging, and 22, which is Eastern Shore Area Agency on Aging. Next slide. Now, to be eligible for OAA services, you have to be age 60 or over, except there are a few exceptions for Title III services for grandparents, and then the Title V employment program where you have to be 55. The difference between Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security from the OAA covered services is that our services are not an entitlement. So therefore, services can be curtailed if there's a lack of funding. And the other thing that's very important is that we base our services on self-declaration of income. We are not allowed to do means testing, as you would see with something like Medicare or Medicaid. So there's no verification of ability to pay, but our programs do target individuals who are living in poverty. those with limited English proficiency, those living at in rural geographic areas, and those at highest risk for institutionalization. We may ask income information to determine fee for service and cost sharing for some of our services that allow that. But again, it's self-declaration of income. Next slide. And you'll have to proceed through that, George. There you go. So these are the services that may be offered by a local AAA. The number to the left of the description are the number of AAAs that offer that service. Each AAA is allowed to provide the services that are based on their needs assessment in their area. So they may not all offer all of these services, but the ones in blue are the ones that really are required that all AAAs provide. And the reason that you see 12 beside care coordination is that this is looking at federal funding. We also get some state funding for care coordination services. And so if they are providing care coordination under state funding, it's not listed here, but all 25 have to offer some form of care coordination. They all offer congregate nutrition, disease prevention, elder abuse prevention, home delivered meals, information and referral, legal assistance. Nutrition counseling was just added a couple of years ago. So now that number is no longer 5, it would be 25. And last year we added nutrition education. So this year, all 25 will be offering that as well. Transportation, which for some areas is only to and from the nutrition sites. But for others, they have a more robust transportation service, so they can provide transportation to and from medical appointments or essential shopping, like, to go to the grocery store, the pharmacy, the bank. And then 24 offer the Virginia Insurance Counseling and Assistance Program, or VICAP, that I'll mention later. We have one AAA that covers 2 planning and service areas, so that's why it's only 24. And this is based on our source material for our 2019 area plans. Okay, next slide. Who's our typical client who's receiving an in-home service for the AAAs? Well, most of them, about 75% of them, are female. They are over the age of 80. Half are living below the poverty line. They live alone. And when we look at their activities of daily living, they generally have deficiencies in anywhere from 2 to 5 of those ADLs. And most are also receiving a home delivered meal. Next slide. There we go. And who is our average caregiver? Most of our caregivers are female. They're in their 40s. They're employed. So many of them are in the sandwich generation, where they may still have children at home that they're taking care of. And they're also trying to take care of older parents. The average annual out-of-pocket expense for caregiving is probably now over $7,000. Especially with the inflation that we have seen recently, I'm sure it's probably well over $7,000 right now. Most of them are providing some transportation related help to and from doctor's appointments and that sort of thing. 71% assist with shopping, finances, or housework. 60% are helping prepare meals. 46% are actually preparing meds or giving medications. And then you can see there are other assistants. 29% supervised caregiving services, and 23% help with other activities of daily living. So you can see that, there's a lot involved with our caregivers. About 1 in 5 individuals in Virginia does consider themselves a caregiver. So about 20%. Next slide. Okay. So looking at some specific programs, this is what I referred to earlier as the Title V program. It's also the Senior Community Service and Employment Program. Most of the services that the AAAs provide are provided under Title III of the Older Americans Act. There's Title IIIB that covers the in-home services, Title IIIC, which covers the congregate and home delivered meal services, Title IIID that covers disease prevention and health promotion, and Title IIIE that covers caregiver services, the National Family Caregiver Support Program. But the employment program is actually offered under Title V of the Act. And this is for individuals who are at least 55 years old. They're living at or below the 125% of the poverty level. And these are people who generally are not job ready. These may be individuals who, for example, it could be a wife who she was a homemaker her entire life and her spouse passes, and then she feels like she needs to get some part-time employment to help supplement her income. So many of these individuals coming in with no computer skills. And so this program will provide training and puts them in placements with nonprofit organizations so that they can learn the skills that they need to gain part-time employment. Now, the state units on aging get some funding for this program, and we have enough funding for about 200 slots. And it's provided from, we have 9 providers throughout the state who do this program. But then Congress also gives money to other sponsors around the country to provide the program. So in Virginia, AARP, Goodwill, and the National Council on Aging are also sponsors and provide senior community service or employment, or CSEP as we call it. Next slide. We also, through the Act under Title IV, I've mentioned Title III and Title V. Well, under Title IV, there are discretionary grants that state units on aging can apply for. And currently, we have a falls prevention grant from ACL. We're beginning year 2 of a 3-year grant. And we've had several of these grants before. But with this particular grant, we are providing through the AAAs a program called A Matter of Balance, which is an evidence-based program that reduces the fear of falling. It consists of 8 sessions that are taught by lay leaders or coaches. And then we're also offering, again, through the AAAs, the bingo size, where this is really a neat program because the participants actually play bingo size. But while they're doing that, they're also exercising through the program. So participants really like it. And the nice thing about both of these programs that when COVID occurred, bingo size could already be done virtually. So it can be done, people can FaceTime or Skype or whatever. It's even been done by a conference call. But A Matter of Balance was not virtual. So they have pivoted so that now Matter of Balance can be offered virtually as well. And so the virtual programs have been well accepted. Now that some of the congregate sites are opening back up, we're seeing that the AAAs are beginning to offer in-person programs, and some are doing hybrid programs where it's, you can participate in person or you can participate virtually. Next slide. We used to have a grant for the chronic disease self-management program. We had several of those, actually about 3. And we no longer have a grant, but fortunately, many of the AAAs were able to use their Title IIID funding to continue to provide this program. And this consists of 6 weeks of workshops, about 2.5 hours per session. And we've been able to train over 13,000 individuals with chronic conditions. And what we found, this was a program that was developed by Stanford University, and they studied it. So it is an evidence-based program, but they found that it actually saved healthcare dollars, and because it decreased emergency room and hospital utilization. And it also helped the individuals who participated feel more comfortable talking to their healthcare providers. And each week during the workshop period, they actually develop an action plan as to what they're going to do to increase their exercise, maybe change their diet, understand their medications. It really keeps them healthier and keeps them from having to go back into the hospital. So it's a great program. Next slide. We also have funding. We have just finished the first year of a 5-year grant that we got from ACL to provide lifespan respite. And this is really a wonderful program. You have to be a caregiver or of a child or an adult who resides at least part-time in your household. And with this, we can provide vouchers of up to $595 per family to really give that primary caregiver a break. The way it works is that they can hire anyone that they want to provide the respite. If they hire an individual, then they will pay the individual for the respite and we will reimburse them for that. If they decide to hire a home care agency to provide the respite, then we can reimburse that agency directly. Not everyone, unfortunately, who applies will be approved because the funds are limited. But we really have been able to serve. Now, this is our third grant. We've been able to serve over 1,100 families throughout the state with this program. And with this particular grant, we do have a special emphasis on caregivers of individuals with dementia, grandparents raising children, male, rural, and LGBT caregivers. So we're really happy about that. And in addition to this grant program, the General Assembly does give DARS funding every year for something called a respite care initiative. And right now we have 11 providers. We issue those contracts based on a request for proposal or RFPs. And the 11 providers are allowed to provide up to 40 hours of respite per month for caregivers of individuals with dementia. So that's also a great program, and that one's getting ready to go out for RFP again. But that's state funded. This respite voucher program is federally funded. And we are actually working with Dr. Laura Sands at Virginia Tech to improve our grant evaluation so that hopefully we'll have the data that we can go to the General Assembly and get funding from the state to continue this program once the grant ends. Next slide. This is the VICAP program that I mentioned previously. This is a great program that's offered throughout the state. It's offered by certified staff and volunteers. They function as insurance counselors, and they will assist Medicare beneficiaries to understand their Medicare, help them choose the best plan for them. They're especially busy during open enrollment each year from October 15th through December 7th, helping people decide on what new medication plans that they want. And the nice thing about this service is that it is free and it is unbiased. We do not allow licensed insurance counselors to participate in this program. It is volunteer based, and so the volunteers who work with us go through a lot of training to be able to do this, but it really is a wonderful program. Next slide. I'm not seeing the next slide. There we go. Okay. Thanks, George. We also get funding from DMV through the National Highway Safety and Traffic Administration for Virginia Grand Driver Program. And this is really it's an educational initiative, and it does fund our granddriver.net website where you can go on and you can look for signs of senior driving difficulty. There's some self-assessment tools that are helpful there and some resources. But Nancy Lowe is our state Grand Driver coordinator. She also participates in car fit events around the state. And car fit events are They were developed by the occupational, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on it, Occupational Therapists Association. It was developed by them in association with some other partners. And this is where older drivers will come through and they go through a 12-point checklist. And so we look for things to make sure that they are buckling their seatbelt, that they know how to adjust their seats. They can adjust their mirrors to eliminate blind spots, that we check to make sure they can see over their steering wheel, that they can reach their pedals. It really is a wonderful program. And we try to do those mainly during the good weather months. Those are done. And as part of this program, we also have contracts with about 7 driver assessment clinics around the state. So you'll have individuals who get referred by either DMV medical review or by their physician, or they can self-refer to undergo testing to see if they are still safe to drive. And what we found is that most of the drivers who have problems are over the age of 75. About 40% who are tested actually do fail the test. And so they will end up giving up their driver's license. But an additional 30% are able to continue to drive by having some rehab that is offered by the driving clinic. So again, you can look for Virginia Grand Driver. We actually just ran a media campaign during May, which is Older Virginians and Older Americans Month, and some of the commercials continued into June. So you may have seen those. Next slide. We also have a senior farmers market program. Can progress through. Our 2022 season is underway, but in our 2021 market season, we helped over 10,000 seniors get fresh, nutritious, and locally grown fruit, vegetables, and herbs. It also supported 198 local farmers and farmers markets. So in order to participate in this, the farmer has to grow his produce locally. He can't buy, for example, a person can't go in and buy bananas with their vouchers that they get from us because we know those are not locally grown. We work with the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, who go out and actually do the farmer training and the farmer monitoring. We have 11 of the AAAs and 1 city government, which is Emporia, who operate this funding, and we do get the funding from USDA. So, and this year, for the first time in the budget that just got approved by the General Assembly, they gave us an additional $125,000 to expand the program. So it's too late to expand it for this season, but we will be able to use that funding for next season to expand into a couple of new areas throughout the state, because this is not statewide. Next slide. We also have the Senior Cool Care Program. This is sponsored by Dominion Energy. They have been providing funding for this program for 32 years. We administer it again through our local AAAs, and it provides portable and room air conditioners and fans to seniors who are over 60 and at or below the poverty level. And we just found out today, when this program started, Dominion was providing us with about $50,000 a year for this program. And then the last few years, they increased that to $85,000. But because this year is the 40th year of Energy Share, they are going to give us an additional $40,000 for this program, because we just had a call with the local AAAs last week, and they were asking for additional funding. So this funding has come through. So we're really, really excited about that. Next slide. DARS also operates the Public Guardian, the Virginia Public Guardian and Conservator Program. Now, this is fully state funded, and this is for individuals who have been adjudicated as incapacitated by a circuit court. They are indigent, and they have no one who is willing or able to serve as their guardian. We do this through 12 contractors who are private or public guardian providers around the state. The General Assembly this year just approved additional funding for 300 more slots. So we now are able to serve 1,349 individuals through this program. And there a lot of the individuals have developmental disabilities, but then there are a lot of older adults who are suffering from there may be brain injuries or dementia who fall under this program. So it really is a good program. And what we found, our providers are monitored yearly. And what we find when we go out and monitor them is that they are so highly committed to the individuals that they serve and that they are using person-centered practices. So it's a very different program than what you have with private guardianship. You know, anyone can go to court and become the private guardian of someone who is incapacitated, but there are no rules that govern private guardians in the state of Virginia. Under the public guardian program, we do have regulations. We have a ratio that you have to have one guardian for every 20 individuals who are served, and they do have to do at least monthly visits with our clients who are served. So public guardianship is very different from private guardianship. Next slide. And this may be my last one. Yep, so that's it. So before I turn it over to George, are there any questions about anything that I've gone over?
A lot of great information there.
Kathy, I do have a question. This is Carrie with Fauquier Fish. We serve a lot of seniors through our food pantry, and some of them do have issues with cooling, the air conditioning and fans. How would we connect them to that program?
Through the local area agency on aging.
Okay.
That's 540-825-3100. Ask for our support coordinator and we'll take it from there.
Okay, give me that number one more time, Ray.
540-825-3100.
Okay, and is that all of the programming you've mentioned?
Well, it's not every program that Kathy mentioned is done by every AAA.
Okay.
There's limited funding and there's choices you have to make on the local level. So that's often some of the questions we get. We try to choose at our AAA to provide the services that aren't provided anywhere else. And so if there's another provider, for instance, the CSEP program, we can refer people to the National Council on Aging or to Goodwill Industries, and there's a resource that covers our catchment area. So we're putting our eggs in another basket wherever there may not be a resource. That's how kind of we make those decisions for our area plan services.
But I think it's important to know to Charity that if there is something like that you're looking for and you connect to the AAA there, Ray or the aging services coordinators, they'll connect you to the appropriate program, even if they're not doing it.
Great, thank you.
And yeah, and also you could call the AAA and ask, you may have individuals that you're not sure what they qualify for or what they need, but you can call the AAA and ask them to do an assessment. And a care coordinator can do an assessment and see what services that individual needs. And it might be something provided directly by the AAA, or as Ellen said, something that they are referred to. But you might have individuals who would qualify for one of the congregate nutrition sites or for home delivered meals. So yeah, you definitely want to contact the AAA.
Okay, great, thank you. And then my other question was about the driver's license program. We often see clients come in, and due to COVID, we've started loading food and groceries directly into their vehicles. And sometimes we witness some driving that we just kind of want to do this. How would you recommend an agency like ours? We're a nonprofit. We don't have expertise in driving other than a personal driver's license to help some of these folks. We realize that in the rural area that we have a lot of transportation, but we don't have the transportation. We don't have a lot of easily accessible transportation in the rural areas. So that driver's license is their livelihood. Without it, they can't get to the food pantry. How do you recommend us kind of making that call? I think my board would say that's not our call to make, but at the same time, I'd hate to see somebody get.
Yeah, I mean, you really would have to go through, you could make a referral to DMV medical review. Anyone can make a report to DMV medical review, but you have to understand that the only ones that are kept anonymous, I believe, are ones that are made by their healthcare provider or by certain family members.
Okay.
So if you call and the person wants to know who called, they would probably say that it was your charity that, that called them. But then DMV will do a review, and then they may refer them to a center for more extensive testing. The testing centers are nice because they do a cognitive test, and then the person passes that, they will do a behind the wheel test with them. And they're all done by certified driver rehabilitation specialists. So if the individual can continue driving with some restrictions in terms of time of day or, no inclement weather driving, they can continue to drive. And so it's only those ones that truly are not safe that are referred back to DMV medical review with a failure.
Okay, thank you. And then will you be sharing the slides with us, Ellen and Kathy, so that we can go back and get that information?
Is that okay to share the slides? Because actually I already have the slides. George sent them to me. So if it's okay,
It's
I'll
okay.
definitely.
It's okay to share mine. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll share the slides with everybody. And also we are recording this as well. So
Thank you.
we'll have that available as well if you want to go back and listen to something. Great questions, Charity. Thanks so much. I'm thinking in the interest of time, we should kind of keep moving.
Move on to George, and then we can Ellen, you can share our email addresses as well when you send out the recording, so if anyone wants to contact us, they can.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great information. Okay, George, thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. I'm gonna keep this quick because I know Erica's got lots to share with everybody. This slide just shows you Virginia's dementia infrastructure with the Alzheimer's Disease and Related Disorders Commission up at the top. They prepare the dementia state plan every year. We're updating that next year. Then my role is supporting the commission and helping implement the state plan. Dementia Capable Virginia is a new initiative, which I'm going to share more about in a second. And then we have a network of memory assessment centers. These are dedicated clinics for dementia and follow-up care. The nearest one to your region is Charlottesville to the south, and then to the north at Georgetown and George Washington universities in Washington. And then, of course, the No Wrong Door Network, which you're going to hear lots about from Erica. So I just wanted to share a couple of state-supported programs. Kathy's talked about the Lifespan Respite Voucher Program, so I won't. The state has funded dementia-specific care coordination, so that's different to the care coordination provided by some of the AAAs, or by all the AAAs. This is a pilot project at UVA, and General Assembly just gave an additional funding. So there's a total of $262,500 for that pilot project this year, which is very exciting. So we're able to serve about, I think, 83 families with that. And then with grants, we've supported dealing with dementia workshops for caregivers in a number of areas around the state. Sarah Amos was a trainer on the call, but I think the nearest ones that are being done to you would be over in the Valley at this point. So Dementia Capable Virginia that I mentioned earlier, this is a new initiative, really where it's trying to raise the profile of the resources that we have on offer. So we brought them all together under one brand. And these are materials and resources for individuals, for family caregivers, for providers, and eventually for researchers. But we haven't quite got there yet. So this is what our new webpage looks like. I thought I had the address on there, but I will certainly share that in the chat after I finish talking. But you can see right at the top of the page, people can choose the button for what their role is and go to those resources. So for individuals, we have the Dementia Roadmap, Dementia Home Safety Toolkit, Dementia Fact Sheets, and for providers, a Primary Care Dementia Toolkit, which includes practice guides and care coordination guides and things like that. And also lots of training modules and links to other free trainings on how to do cognitive screenings. And we have some person-centered dementia-capable training modules for area agency staff. So I just wanted to highlight the Dementia Roadmap. This is a new publication that we launched in February, which we're super excited about. We adapted it from our colleagues in Washington State, but you can see it goes stage by stage through the various stages of the disease, starting with wondering and worried and ending up with late stage dementia. It tells people what they can expect at each stage, what they might be wondering about, what they can do, and then very concrete action steps that they can take that build on each other through the stages. I just want to highlight the portraits here. They were taken by a Virginian, E. Michael Geller, who lives in Tidewater, and the quotes there are taken from the interviews that he conducted with the families. Also, the art throughout was created by people living with dementia. So we're in Virginia, so we're very proud of that as well. There's a really good resources section at the back, including all contact details for all the area agencies on aging, and then a number of other dementia specific resources. The Home Safety Toolkit, another new publication. Again, we adapted this from Washington State. It covers home safety, falls prevention, driving, wandering, emergency prep, and elder abuse and financial exploitation. So hopefully lots of information for helping keep Virginians with dementia safe at home. And then finally, the caregiver tip sheets. These address very specific behavioral challenges that people might be facing. We have them all in English and Spanish, and these are all available for download on the webpage. There's 18 of those. And then finally, I just wanted to mention dementia-friendly initiatives. If you know me, you know that I can't do any kind of speaking engagement without mentioning dementia-friendly. So we have Dementia Friends. There's many champions in your area, and I know Dementia Friends information sessions are offered regularly. So I encourage everyone to share that information when they learn about them. And then we also have dementia-friendly community initiatives in several areas around the state. If you're interested in helping support a community initiative in your community, please get in touch with me. And I'm going to turn it over to Erica. Thanks. And I'll take questions at the end.
Thank you, George. I am Erica Okansky, and my official title is the No Wrong Door Expansion Specialist. Our team, the No Wrong Door team, also reside in the Division for Community Living, as Kathy's slide showed earlier on. And my role is really to support our community-based organizations as they consider onboarding to No Wrong Door, and or if they're busy already onboarding. So in our next slide, I will share with you that I'm going to talk about communities and community-based organizations participating in our network, and how Virginians within those communities can gain access to the needed resources. So welcome to Virginia. Yes, our state is just for lovers, just as the Virginia tourism slogan states. And at No Wrong Door, Virginia, we want this slogan to really be at the heart of the work that we do statewide. All of the organizations and partners on the No Wrong Door system have care and love at the core of their service delivery and in the support that they provide. The value of this collaboration, both at the statewide level and at the local level, bring our communities together to better serve Virginians and let them know that they are loved and cared for. Throughout all of our life's journeys, we are all going to need community resources and support. So community and our fabric of community partners is very important. This slide just shows you a little bit of the framing of what I want to talk about. I've already kicked it off with starting to talk about communities, but I will continue to do so here in a little bit. I want to remind everybody about the strengths of the No Wrong Door initiative. I'm going to take you through a quick journey as Rosa experienced it to utilize resources that's available to her through the No Wrong Door initiative and system. And then I want to talk about some specific tools that No Wrong Door offers. So on the next slide, you will see a definition by Merriam-Webster for community: a unified body of individuals or a group of people with a common characteristic of interest living together within a larger society. And we do this together by understanding what the very essence of our state work is, and it's focused on communities, a community of partners working together or better care for the people that we support. So while Virginia's No Wrong Door technology system provides a virtual highway, if you want, to streamline that access, we know that we'll never have a successful technology or system for accessing long-term services and supports without community, a community of dedicated individuals and providers, direct service workers that's behind it. No Wrong Door's community in Virginia is embedded within our local area agencies on aging, who are the local leads for the No Wrong Door system, bringing together those partners for real dialogues about improving supports and service delivery. Our AAA's strengths are working with you, local community-based organizations. And for us at a statewide level, we do our best to support that local infrastructure, and doing so through training, marketing, state resources, and guidance. We see ourselves as a unified body of individuals with common interests and with common characteristics. So on the next slide, I'm just, prepping you to, if you wouldn't mind using the chat feature to just type in one word that describes what you love about your community, please. Our team often does this poll in various ways. And as we do it, we like to play various songs that we love. Most recently, we've enjoyed the Beatles, what is it now? All You Need Is Love. So I'm not gonna play that today, but thank you for those that's typed in. I see the words of compassion, caring, collaboration, and working together. So indeed, I'm going to actually show on the next slide that's just in line with what we've heard. We've created this Wordle that captures some of the more frequent words that we get when we do this poll. And as you can see here, words of community, caring, neighbors, collaboration again. So thank you for participating and humoring me on just hearing what you love about your community. But on to the next slide, where I just want to remind you of what No Wrong Door is. It is a federal initiative under the Administration for Community Living in partnership with two other federal agencies, the CMS and the Veterans Health Administration. The overall premise of No Wrong Door is to improve access to long-term services and supports across all population and payers, and coordinating with the state to improve individual's choice. No Wrong Door exists in all 56 states and territories, although there are some differences in how each of the states implement their system. In Virginia, we adhere to ACL's vision and framework for No Wrong Door being a one-stop, coordinated, and person-centered initiative. And that's what we're trying to depict in this system, with a person in the middle, wrapped around with community-based organizations and their supports around them. Next slide, please. So in short, Virginia's No Wrong Door system is both a network of dedicated community partners married by a technology and a philosophy for better serving people, which helps to streamline access to support those individuals. Oftentimes, when someone needs more than just one support, indeed multiple supports. So No Wrong Door is not just a statewide initiative, but very much a local one. Each of the AAAs, as I mentioned before, is the local lead and serve as the first point of contact with the local No Wrong Door partner agencies. Partner agencies may include local agencies that the AAA has a contracted relationship with, such as a particular home care agency, transportation service, and so on, as well as other non-AAA affiliated agencies within the community who are interested in partnering with No Wrong Door to, again, help with that streamlined access in their specific area. As our initiative's name suggests, there is literally no wrong door to access the resources that you need. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you some of the strengths. Throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia, there are over 230 No Wrong Door partner agencies. It includes 120 local departments of social services and adult services and adult protective services staff, all utilizing the same technology platform for coordinating the services for an individual through our information and referral system. And we annually serve about 70,000 individuals, unique individuals through the system. We have 2 statewide resource databases with about 27,000 services in them, and those include Virginia Navigator as well as 211 Virginia. The No Wrong Door system has 92 certified options counselors who all help make these connections for individuals to understand their options. On the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process of how community partners onboard to become No Wrong Door partner organizations. So through various connections that the agencies might have in the community, like today, or just your connection with your AAA or other agencies that's already on the system, we are approached for an overview of the initiative. And then we do that maybe as a state agency or in collaboration with the local No Wrong Door coordinators. And we just, initiate the whole process around the agreements and the security requirements. And new partners services will be included in both of those statewide resource databases that I mentioned, Virginia Navigator and 211. Or if they're already included there, we just do a quick audit for the accuracy of those services. Next, the training of the system users are coordinated with our trainer and also with the help of courses that we have on the No Wrong Door training portal, which is a whole new portal. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. We have advisory councils, specific No Wrong Door advisory councils in each region where partner agencies and potential new partners collaborate and discuss best practices or just get to know each other a little bit better. All of this, of course, to connect Virginians to the needed resources. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, these No Wrong Door advisory councils, I recently participated in the Richmond area's advisory council. And as part of their activities, they convened an in-person No Wrong Door technology system get together. This happened this past June. And it marked the return to a best practice from pre-pandemic days where we had these more frequently. So getting these No Wrong Door users together to discuss the system use, ask specific questions, and deciding on a regional referral best practice have proven very successful in the past, and again with this most recent get-together. One of the local partners in the Richmond area is a PACE program, and they hosted the event at their location and also offered a small tour for all of the participants. Since the last similar get-together, a lot of the No Wrong Door partner staff had seen, turnover. And so it was not surprising actually to hear that some of the key takeaways from this meeting. So one person said that the meeting people who are using the No Wrong Door system gave me a better understanding of their specific programs. I was able to ask them questions and found that very beneficial. I learned something. More conversations are needed to really establish strong collaborations between organizations. For example, I will be reaching out to Feedmore after this to be sure my referrals to them include the information they need. Another said that the No Wrong Door Direct Connect tool is something that my organization needs to use more. And then there was also talk about the need for shared training opportunities. On the next slide, many of you know how the No Wrong Door technology are used at the AAAs and partner organizations to create client profiles and also tracking client interactions, as well as making those referrals. But No Wrong Door has also created this consumer-facing portal called Virginia Easy Access. It actually existed before, but this is a redesign that we've fairly recently went through and actually won some national awards for because of its person-centered focus. And it was recognized for excellence in web creativity and digital communication. The Virginia Easy Access site was redesigned to create this type of online community around all the dimensions of well-being, as can be seen depicted here as topics around the sun. Our person-centered portal was created to help support everybody's individual unique journey. And I'll share such a journey in Rosa Martin's story as she does research and information gathering. Rosa decided to visit Virginia Easy Access to see what information she can find, where she can use some of the interactive tools to search and to find topics on general well-being. In the top right corner, you can see there's a sign-in feature, and Rosa can start by creating a personal profile in which she can save the links to the resources that she found, allowing for a personalized experience. She can also use the online chat feature at the bottom right-hand corner, which is powered by 211 Virginia, and you would chat with a 211 Virginia specialist, or she can even call the 24/7 phone line to talk with a person, and there's actually language interpretation in 200 languages there. On the next slide, really at the heart of all of this is, those support options and finding them. So the Service Finder tool allows access to those 27,000 community resources I already mentioned in the statewide resource databases. We have a caregiver tech tool, which provides access to a curated database of products, technology, and applications, all designed to support family caregivers. The family caregiving is really driven by the love and care of these family members. So on the next slide, I'm just going to quickly share Rosa's story so we can frame it a little bit better. So she's 70. In this slide, I actually said she lives in Richmond, but it was supposed to be Culpeper today for purposes of our discussion. She lives with her husband, Fred. He's 75 years old. He's a veteran. Just before the COVID restrictions, Rosa and Fred moved to a smaller apartment in a new neighborhood But during that move, she fell and required emergency hip surgery and then physical therapy to recover. Since the surgery and COVID, her activities to our salon, church, and senior center was curtailed, and Rosa has bouts of depression. On the next slide, I just kind of summarize what this boils down to in terms of the resources that could support her to get her to a better place. So maybe assistance in the home, some socialization opportunities, and chronic pain services. On the next slide, Rosa uses one of those service finders tools, specifically the social engagement finder, to search for support in her home. She's able to input the locality she lives in and select a topic of services that match her needs. So for example, she can select the social support topic and quickly find some matches of organizations of programs in her area. One of these resources is VAT's Social Connection Assistive Technology Consultation Program. That's a real tongue twister. But using a feature on the site called No Wrong Door Direct Connect, it's a self-directed feature that we've developed. Rosa can actually self-refer to this VATS program that she found. And this referral is received into the No Wrong Door inbound referral queue at VATS. Providing Rosa with a consultation, giving her an option to really feel the love and receive personalized recommendations for assistive technology. Through this referral, Rosa actually gets access to assistive technology tool or a robotic pet named Miss Mittens. Doing a similar search, Rosa finds information about chronic pain management workshops in her area and signs up for those, again, using the No Wrong Door Direct Connect feature. I'm going to pause here quickly and show you one of our service announcements that we've recently developed in a short video. So I hope that that's going to play for us. So George, if you could just proceed to the next slide and hit the play button there in the middle for us. If it doesn't want to play, that's okay. You know, the slides will be provided to everybody, and you're welcome to just look at this short little video and use it as a promotional item for connecting individuals to resources.
Erica, yeah, this is great. This is such great information. I'm just a reminder, I don't know how many slides you have left, but we have a few minutes after this to kind of finish our meeting. So this is just great. What I'm loving is the way you've kind of shown a real life person walking us through the system, and how effective that can be and how user friendly this is.
No problem. We can, pause here. I'll just kind of say in closing that, we have these two paths. In fact, maybe George can just proceed to the next slide if it's still available. But if you can't, no worries. Both the self-directed path going through easy access, and then the more supported path going through our community-based organizations. So that's how we've expanded the access through the No Wrong Door initiative, so that a person can go either way, one of two paths, either do a little bit more self-direction or go through partner agencies similar to those participating today. But I'll